The business I work in is going to be protecting your customers' data. We're a vendor here. The solutions we sell to managed service providers are going to be utilized by folks like yourself, Alex, to protect the clients you serve and protect their data. Data in today's day and age is the lifeblood of their company, and I sell a solution that can protect it wherever it rests, wherever it lives, and whatever type of data it may be.
Perfect. So let me paint you a scenario that you hopefully not personally familiar with, but you have
Mhm.
heard. Let's say your server room, and I'm talking to clients right now, I'm talking to our viewers.
Yeah.
Let's say your server room floods, or let's say the server finally gives out, or you have a power surge
Yeah.
and your whole server goes down. What happens then? So if you're a client for Arc IT, or you're a client for a similar MSP, which is a service provider on IT side of things, we take care of it. The way it's currently done, the sort of, I wouldn't say basic, but the average, the standard disaster recovery plan given within the current fees without any extra charge is get you back up in about 48 to 168 hours. That varies based on number of data you have and number of users and things like that. So you're still going to be able to get back to work. It's just going to take a lot longer than what Alex's company solution provides. So I'm just explaining that how it works. And we're talking going from 48 to 168 hours
Yeah.
to what, Alex?
I can be as short. We call it instant virtualization. So is it actually instant? No, of course it's not instant, but within a few minutes with minimal interruption to the actual production of the business, you can have that server back up and running in the event of their production server being underwater, on fire, under a tree, shot with a gun, anything along those lines. If that server is destroyed, the technology my company can provide can get them back up and running instantly.
Now imagine this, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine this. This does happen. What Datto Solutions does, it spins up a virtualized environment, right, Alex? Maybe
Yeah,
you can talk a little bit more about that. And within 5 minutes,
sure.
so there are steps that we need to take as your IT provider to make sure all your users get access to the new virtual environment. We need to make sure it's actually operational. And so, we probably call it about an hour to get you fully operational, even though your server is in pieces.
That's right.
And that is incredible technology. And maybe Alex, you can speak a little bit to that virtualization. How does that work? And just give us a little bit of an idea.
Yeah, so my company sells an appliance. That appliance sits in your server closet. Sits right behind the production server. Now, say for example, in the one we're talking about here, your main production server got flooded, but my Datto appliance is safe. It's fine. All you need to do is go into your Datto portal, click a few buttons, and that production server is a carbon copy on the Datto appliance itself. It's all the connectivities there, all the data's there, all the changes of data is there. And essentially, the business you're serving, your clients, they can go in to our appliance, connect in, and access everything that they expected with basically full feature parity from what they were doing for work just 5 minutes before that machine got flooded.
Gotcha. That's if the appliance is safe.
That's a good point. If the
What if
appliance
the
is safe.
what happens when the appliance it's a major flood? Everything's
Mm,
underwater.
yeah, that's no good. So my Datto appliance is now dead too. We've got no servers on site. What the heck happens? So we've actually got an extremely robust cloud infrastructure that we privately own and operate. We're not renting space on Amazon. As we all know, just a few weeks ago, Amazon went
Yep.
down. Azure goes down all the time. We don't deal with any of that stuff. I've got my own infrastructure that you all have full access to, and you can spin up your servers in my cloud infrastructure and then just connect into them with a VPN. Very simple, very easy to do. And to be completely candid, speaking from the eyes of your client, they don't have to deal with any of it. It's all on you to handle for them as their service provider, Alex. And I know you guys do great work and you'll get it done quick for them.
Sure. Is this time still so if the actual Datto box is damaged, is the uptime similar in a similar range
It's
or
very
recovery
similar.
time?
Yeah, we've got a lot of pre-configured setup that you can do on the front end. So you and
Mm.
your customer can sit down and actually pre-configure what may happen in a disaster scenario. And you can set that up. So when that time comes, there's going to be a lot of pressure on everybody involved. We want to try and ease that as much as we possibly can. So my solution can probably get you back up and running in the cloud. And I'll be a little conservative with my estimates here, probably 4 to 6 hours.
Okay, that's still. Let's talk about the value of the hour, Alex, before
Yeah.
our viewers' attention wanders. Like, oh, you guys talking technical? We're not talking technical. We're talking your core. It's called business essential planning. You have to understand what happens if things go wrong, and they do go wrong at the worst possible times.
Yes, they do.
Like
Yes,
you're
they
about to
do.
sign your biggest client, or you just did. You're about to deliver the project, construction docs, wherever, and it just poops out on you. So let's talk about a value of this hour or multiple hours. So what's the value of an hour, Alex? Let's say, let me give you an example. Our architecture company does about $10 million a year in revenue. What would be the hour of downtime costing them?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Now, I do have a handy tool if you'd like. I can share my screen. I can show you what that looks like. We can actually transition this conversation from zeros and ones to dollars and cents.
Love it.
So, Alex, let's take, for example, a client of yours doing $10 million in top line revenue. That's a really, really powerful business. And typically with a company of that size, you're going to have, I don't know, 3 to 5 terabytes of data that we need to protect. So
Right.
roughly from a cost standpoint, that's going to cost you about $2,000 a month, right? That's roughly where that's going to be based on this hypothetical example. And if we put that into an annual investment, it's about $24,000 a year. And if we put that into a per minute investment, that means that that business is paying you, their managed service provider, about 5 pennies per minute.
5 cents per minute
Yep.
to have this disaster recovery fully managed by Datto Solutions.
That's correct. And
Okay.
this is taking into consideration that we are operating 24/7, 365. This is not just your 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, because hackers don't stop. They don't go home for the weekend. They know
Yep.
you're not working, and they're going to send that ransom email on Saturday when you aren't paying too much attention. You may click on it, and before you know it, your system's corrupted. So this is going to take into assumption 24/7, 365. Now, for the example we're talking about, that $10 million a year business, let's break that down. On a per minute standpoint, they're going to be earning $19.03. So what that tells me as the Datto guy is that that business is earning $19.03, and you guys at Arch IT are protecting them for just 5 cents a minute. And every single second that they're down, they're losing $19.03. But every single second that they're up, they're just paying you guys 5 pennies to protect that $19. And like
When you say second, sorry, Alex, you mean minute.
per minute, forgive me. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
no problem. No, yeah, I just want to make sure I understand it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like we chatted about earlier, your typical backup solution, it's going to be 2 days to 7 days being down. Multiply this number out on a per minute standpoint for over a course of a week. That's significant.
Well, let's do
But
it. How many hours in a
sure.
week?
Oh, goodness. Now you're really putting me on the spot.
168.
24 hours in a day. Yeah, there you go.
24 times 7. I got a calculator in front of me. People laugh at me that I use a physical calculator. If you guys,
Look at that. That's great. That's $19 per minute. So you multiply that 19 by 60, multiply that number by 168. That's how much revenue that company's losing if they're down on that typical backup solution.
All right. So, okay, now I'm going to do it again. Okay. So 1903 per minute, which means $1,141 per hour.
Wow.
Yes. Times 168 hours. So if they're down for 7 days, that is 191,000.
Yeah.
I got to this number before. I didn't think it was going to be that big. I'll be honest.
It almost didn't seem real.
No, it didn't. So I had to go backwards and redo it again. 191,000. I think what you ladies and gentlemen need to understand is a week down for a company of 10 million is close to $200,000.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about lost face to clients, delayed projects, right? We're not talking about any of that additional detriments that will impact business negatively. Anyway, so I think if we haven't convinced you yet, let me throw a couple other facts. You can take this off. We can go back to talking heads if you want, just to sort of polish this out for the ladies and gentlemen. I outlined some benefits that I think is significant. One of them is Datto's backing up every 5 minutes.
That's right. We can do every 5 minutes. We can do every hour. We can do really as custom as you so choose to. If you're an architectural firm and you're making a ton of data changes per minute, we can really reduce that down and protect every single change that's happening in your live data set so that those changes are protected in my backup appliance. And referencing back to the scenario where the production server goes down, all those different versions that someone may be asking for, that someone needs to go in and edit if you're an architectural firm, are saved inside my appliance.
Beautiful. And one last thing, I think we go to a lot of details and specific benefits, and I'm happy to do it on calls with customers who are interested. But I will mention one more thing here in the show. I think the reduction of cost of cyber insurance I think it's a significant benefit, and I think it's going to grow. What do you think?
I would agree. Cyber insurance is just as important as any other insurance policy that you're going to have nowadays as a business owner. And
Huge.
Talking about hackers don't sleep, hackers don't stop. Hackers know exactly when you're out to dinner with your wife, with your family. They know when you're not paying the right amount of attention. That's when they strike. That's when they hit your business. That's when they send that ransom-filled email. And you need to be diligent. But sometimes it does happen. People do get hacked. They do get encrypted. Having a backup solution is the way to prevent that.
But I'm talking about cyber insurance discounts that people will get. No, it's perfect. What you spun up is exactly right. In addition to that, implementing this solution will give them a discount off of their cyber policy.
Absolutely. And I'll take that a step further for you. We actually have a team here that can do what's called a disaster recovery test. And that disaster recovery test can go into your actual environment and figure out the process that needs to be done to keep you up and running in the event of a true disaster. And we can even sign off on that as the vendor. We've vetted that this is true, and it can help reduce it even further.
Gotcha. That's network penetration test. Is that what it's called?
That's part of it, but I've got a team of folks that do that. They're called the technical account team. And they actually go in and they have a service that does that type of disaster recovery test with a report and a write-up afterwards.
Gotcha. And that really helps the cyber policy
to
go down. All right, perfect, Alex. Anything we forgot or I forgot to ask you or mention that you think would be of value to an architecture, design, engineering company that is considering this level of disaster recovery solution?
I'll kind of reiterate the same thing I've been saying the whole time, right? Datto, I've been with this company for a very long time, about 9 years now. And yeah, the one thing that we've said, and I've said it probably millions of times at this point, is that data is the lifeblood of every company, right? The people are there, but they need access to the data. Your solutions are there, but it still needs access to the data. The data is what drives the company. And protecting the data with the most premier solution in the industry, there really shouldn't even be a question. I really do think that the Datto solution is the #1 product in the industry, and it protects the lifeblood of every small, medium business out there.
There you go. I appreciate your time, Alex. Thank you very much for watching. Go to getarchit.com if you're not yet a customer of ArcIT. And Datto is our partner. We're very proud and happy to be partners, and we work really well together. And we hope we can bring this level of solution to more businesses out there.
Absolutely. Alex, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.
Take care.